Hi everyone, I'm Brooke.
I'm Alexis.
I'm Katie.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Rachel.
And this is our project, The Sushi Boat. For our concept, we wanted to redefine the term sushi boat and combine ideas of an old Japanese fishing boat with New England maritime based on the mood board we were given. So we were inspired by the plaid and the dark wood colors. Our restaurant is going to take you as if you're in an old sushi boat and give you impressions of water as well as light shining through the slats of wood, all based in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So this is our layer 1 of our sushi restaurant with the floor plan and our lighting plan. It shows just the different types of lighting we have, like task, focal, accent, and ambient lighting. Upon entry, the space is filled with ambient light, drawing guests with focal lighting around the base, as well as textured walls and ceilings. The space gives a warm and inviting atmosphere with soft lighting, temperatures, and textures, coinciding with pops of interesting lighting features that catch your attention with nautical-inspired features. The lighting chosen creates a circulation that leads guests from the main entry throughout the restaurant, either to the sushi bar or to the more secluded tables and ending in the private and secluded dining section. Individual table task lighting gives intimate illumination for all. Walking through the doors of Charlotte's newest sushi spot transports you to a modern maritime setting with nautical inspirations guiding you through to your dining destination.
For layer 2, it shows how the lighting affects the mood of the space. And in this case, we wanted to create a warm ambiance, as well as give areas of privacy through lighting for each of the dining spaces. For the bathrooms, since they're more reliant on function, they're brighter than the rest of the restaurant. And the overall aim is that this space provides a comfortable, cozy feeling for its guests that is reminiscent of a ship at sunset.
So this is layer 3. The accent lighting is shown through the highlighted sections and the labels. As you can see, like they said, we wanted to go for a warm and romantic atmosphere. So throughout the space, pendant lanterns are hung over individual tables and the booths to provide focal lighting, whereas on the patio, lanterns will be placed on the tables for muted lighting. In addition, the outdoor space will have sconce lighting along the exterior walls to illuminate the walkways. And in the private dining room, there will be a water feature wall and uplighting coming through the water to further separate the space from the main dining. In the restrooms behind the mirrors, there's horizontal wood paneling with spotlights shining through the wood panels. And overall, the lighting elements highlight different parts of the restaurant while maintaining a nautical ambiance.
So layer 4 highlights the architecture of the space. It is showing the walkways and columns of the space as well as the architectural design. As you can see from the elevation, we have shown the wave texture of the wall and how the light emphasizes that. We've also shown the emphasis on the wood slat ceiling in the dining room.
So as said before, in dining room 1, we chose to have individual lantern pendants hanging above each separate table to not only emphasize each table and the privacy, but to also further give the impression of being on the old boat. And then there is canned lighting to provide circulation light as well as just further the ambiance light.
For dining room 2, it will use the same pendant lights over the dining spaces and the same recessed lights to light up the walkways. And for the sushi bar, it will use these memento pendants, which create this water ripple effect to add to the sushi restaurant and the theme on water.
With dining room 3, We have a fun like bubble panel feature to cover the whole wall. That would be the left wall when you are standing in it. And it gives the illusion of you're being underwater or one with the elements. And then as well, we carried over the pendant lighting above the freestanding tables, and then the 3 booths in the back, they are covered with the tawny port chandelier that is a representation of like an old Japanese lanterns.
So in the restrooms, we have the cylindrical pendant that will be placed along the wall to create kind of a modern lighting effect of the light coming through the planks of the wood in an old ship.
So for sustainability, step 1, part A, we did the LEED credit, EQ credit, interior lighting, hospitality, and we chose option 2, which was lighting quality. And we had to pick 4 strategies. So the first part, all the light fixtures had to have a luminescence of less than 2,500. Part B, all the light sources had to have a CRI of 80 or higher. Part C, at least 75% of the light fixtures had to have a rated light of at least 24,000 hours. And then part D, 25% of our total light fixtures had to be direct overhead lighting.
For the well credit, we chose the electric light quality. And for part A, it focused on ensuring color rendering quality, which it needed to have a CRI of equal or greater than 90. And for all the lights, they mostly reached that goal. And for those that didn't, recommendations were given to change those bulbs. And for part B, it was on managing flicker. And again, most of these lights met that goal, but for those that didn't, recommendations were given.
And then these are all the lights we used, and then the wattage that they took up, and the square footage that they lit, and their LPD was 1.28.
So the lantern pendant was the lighting fixture that we used mostly throughout the entire space. So we used the lumen method to calculate how many we would need if that was our only lighting option. So with the math, we calculated that approximately 59 of these would be needed if this were the only luminaire in the space. But because we have other lighting, we don't need 59 of these.
Here is the reflected ceiling plan that shows our placement of all the lights and how certain ones are for certain areas of the restaurant and how they highlight those areas and how they lead you throughout the space.
This is our electrical plan. It's a pretty standard electrical plan. So all the can lighting within the space is controlled by various dimmer switches so that the levels can be changed depending on the time of day. And then the specific light fixtures, such as the ones above the sushi bar, they can be controlled by single pole switches that have one light level. And then there are very few outlets in the dining spaces, but when needed, they're mainly around like the sushi bars and towards the kitchen.
Here are our elevations at 1/4 inch scale. So on the right, you can see dining room number 3. We have the Calco chandeliers above the booths. And then to the right above the tables, we have the geometric lantern pendants. And then on the left side, you can see where we have the sushi bar. And we have the ripple lighting above the sushi bar there.
Rendering, you see the lantern pendants used throughout the space over each table. There's wood paneling throughout the entire dining room, and you see the recessed can lighting in between the wooden slats.
For dining room 2, you can see the pendant lights over each of the tables, as well as the memento pendants over the sushi bar that gives this water ripple effect. Also, this space has a large window, so most of the light is coming from that during the daytime.
And then in dining room 3, you can see where we have the geometric lantern pendants over the tables, and we have those Calco chandelier over the booths.
And then here in the bathroom is where we said it had the light coming through the wood slats, and that's the illusion that is given through this lighting.
Schedule, you just see the luminaire symbols, the images. It tells you the manufacturer and catalog number, the color temperature, voltage, mounting styles, and any other notes that you may need.
So for the well standard for background noise level, for dining areas, the average is 45 and the max is 55 for DBA. And for DVC, the average is 70 and the max is 80.
This is our quality of sound chart. So it explains the acoustical constraints and then the required sound quality for each space within the restaurant. So for dining room 1, there's private tables of 4 or less, and there's close proximity between the tables as well as to the main entrance. So it would need a lot of absorbing materials, I apologize, behind and above the tables, specifically on the ceiling. That's why we used flat hanging fixtures instead of vertical hanging fixtures. And then in dining room 2, the seats are connected to the bar and there's close proximity to the kitchen. So there needs to be sound isolation materials throughout the kitchen, as well as materials in the ceiling as well. And then in dining room 3, there's private booths, but there's also larger tables for larger parties. So there needs to be, again, the material in the ceiling as well as sound masking between the booths. And then in the restrooms, there obviously needs to be privacy between the stall and the sinks, and then privacy between the bathrooms and then the restroom or the restaurant. So there needs to be materials throughout the restrooms as well as added ventilation to carry the sound.
So here are some acoustical solutions we came up with. We did not use all of these. We used the art acoustic panels, the fiber wall paneling, and the perforated acoustic wood panels. The art acoustic panels are practical, highly functional, and they look great. The fiber wall panels makes for great accent walls, as well as it's great for absorbing sound, especially in restaurants. And then we use the perforated acoustic wood panels. They're not completely perforated, but instead they have tiny slits in them to absorb and centralize sound waves. If they're properly placed on at least 2 surfaces, such as the ceiling and wall, they will prevent sound waves from bouncing back and forth horizontally and vertically.
And then here, we're just trying to show you where we place all the acoustic solutions. With the perforated acoustic wood panels, we thought it would be nice to put it on some of the ceiling and have it either painted or stained to match the restaurant itself, and it would be the wave feature that's in the picture. With the fiber wall paneling, we chose to place it around the walls that are not covered with wood or like the bubble wall, and it would be like in Katie's layer 4 example where it looks more of a wave texture to match the restaurant. And the art acoustic panels, we decided to put above the bar area, and it would have depictions of either sea images or boat scenes, whichever would look better or best for the restaurant.
And that's all we have. Thank you for listening. Does anyone else want to say any closing remarks?
It was a good and fun experience for all of us to learn about the acoustics and lighting in a space.
Thank you so much for listening.